The Last Defender. The UEA's Defiant hung in the darkness of deep space, its hull bearing the scars of a dozen battles. Captain Maya Chen stood on the observation deck, her reflection ghostly in the reinforced viewport. Beyond, the endless void stretched, punctuated by distant stars. Somewhere among them, Earth stood occupied, its cities transformed by alien architecture. "Captain, the senior officers have assembled in the war room," Lieutenant Park announced from behind her. Maya nodded without turning. "Thank you, Lieutenant. I'll be there shortly." Her fingers traced the insignia on her collar, the phoenix emblem of the United Earth Fleet, now reduced to this single vessel. The Defiant had been designed as an experimental prototype, incorporating technologies too radical for mass production. Now it was humanity's last hope. The corridors were eerily quiet as she made her way to the war room. The ship, built for a crew of 2,000, now housed barely 600. The survivors of Earth's orbital defense stations, military personnel who'd escaped the fall of Luna Base, and a handful of civilian scientists deemed too valuable to lose. In the war room, her senior staff waited. Commander Alexei Volkov, her XO, stood ramrod straight despite the exhaustion etched into his face. Chief Engineer Zara Okonko's hands were stained with coolant fluid, evidence of her endless battle to keep the ship's systems operational. Tactical Officer Wai Zong studied holographic displays, his cybernetic eye implant glowing faintly. Dr. Naina Patel, head of scientific research, was engaged in quiet conversation with Lieutenant Commander Jackson Reed, their intelligence officer. At ease, Maya said, activating the central holographic projector. A three-dimensional star map materialized, with a massive concentration of red indicators clustered around the Ta-CD system. "The Arcturian Collective has established their forward command post in Ta-CD," Maya began. "According to our latest intelligence, they're constructing another wormhole gate. If completed, it will give them direct access to the Trappist system, where the Ganymede evacuees established their colony," Volkov said grimly. "Our last significant human settlement." "Precisely." Maya expanded the projection to focus on the alien fleet, a swarm of geometric ships arranged in perfect, mathematically precise formations. 83 warships, plus support vessels. Zhang shook his head. "Captain, with all due respect, even with our advanced systems, these odds are beyond impossible. We're not looking to win a conventional battle," Maya replied, her voice steady. "Dr. Patel, report on the Chaos Drive testing." Nana stepped forward, activating her datapad. The quantum probability field generator, what the crew has dubbed the Chaos Drive, is operational. Initial testing confirms it can locally alter probability fields within a radius of approximately half a light second. "In plain language, Doctor," Volkov asked, "it introduces genuine randomness into a system," Nina explained. "The Arcturians operate on absolute mathematical precision. Their hive mind processes everything through pure logic and probability calculations. The Chaos Drive disrupts that. It creates outcomes that should be statistically impossible." Maya nodded. "And Reed, what have you discovered about their psychology?" The intelligence officer straightened. "The Arcturian Collective is a gestalt consciousness. Millions of individual entities linked in a neural network that spans their entire civilization. They don't understand individuality or improvisation. Every action is calculated for maximum efficiency based on probability matrices. They conquered 24 species before reaching Earth, all with predictable defensive strategies. Humanity was the first to truly surprise them. Because humans are inherently unpredictable," Maya concluded, "we make intuitive leaps. We take risks that defy mathematical logic. We choose sacrifice over submission." She tapped the console, and the hologram shifted to show the Defiance schematics, highlighting modifications to its weapons and shield systems. "Our plan is simple but radical. We'll drop out of FTL at the edge of the Ta-CD system, appearing damaged and vulnerable. The Arcturians will detect us and deploy forces to capture this ship, the last example of advanced human technology. When they surround us, we activate the chaos drive. Zhang frowned. Captain, even if we disrupt their coordination, we're still one ship against an armada. We don't need to destroy them all, Maya replied. Okonko, show them what you found. The chief engineer stepped forward, manipulating the hologram to highlight a specific alien vessel near the center of the formation, larger than the others, with a distinctive structure. This is their command node, Zara explained, the focal point of their hive consciousness in this sector. It's heavily shielded and protected by multiple defensive layers. Under normal circumstances, reaching it would be impossible. But with the chaos drive creating unpredictable outcomes, Maya continued, we can create enough disruption to punch through their defenses. One direct hit on that command node with our experimental phase cannon could disrupt the entire fleet's neural network. At what cost? Volkov asked quietly. Maya met his gaze. Potentially everything. But if we succeed, we give humanity a fighting chance. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. These officers represented the last organized military command of the human species. What they were contemplating wasn't just a mission. It was potentially the last act of human defiance in a war they were losing. I won't order anyone to participate, Maya said finally. This mission is voluntary. If you choose to leave the ship, we'll arrange transport to Trappist beforehand. With all due respect, Captain, Zara said, where the hell else would we go? A grim chuckle rippled through the room, breaking the tension. We're with you, Zhang affirmed. To the end. 2 days later, the Defiant dropped out of FTL at the edge of the TAS CD system. The ship's engines sputtered convincingly, venting plasma in controlled bursts designed to mimic critical damage. Their transponder broadcast distress signals on all frequencies. Arcturian vessels are changing course, Zhang reported from Tactical. 17 ships breaking formation to intercept us. Perfect, Maya said from the command chair. Status of the Chaos Drive. Charged and ready, Nina confirmed from the science station. Field parameters set. Weapon systems disguised but operational, Zhang added. Phase cannon charged at 87% and rising. Maya nodded, feeling the weight of 7 billion human lives. Those conquered, those in hiding, and those yet unborn, resting on her shoulders. All hands, prepare for combat maneuvers, she ordered. Stealth systems active. Let's let them get nice and close. On the view screen, the alien vessels approached in perfect formation, a mathematical dance of geometric precision. The Arcturians were nothing if not predictable. Remember, Maya said to her bridge crew, once the Chaos Drive activates, physics becomes suggestible. Expect the unexpected and trust your instincts, not your instruments. The Arcturian ships closed in, surrounding the apparently crippled human vessel. Their formations were flawless, optimized for maximum coverage with minimum vulnerability, a textbook example of tactical efficiency. They're scanning us, Reed reported, trying to assess our systems and capabilities. Let them look, Maya replied. Okonko, begin power fluctuations. Make it seem like we're having containment issues. The ship's lights dimmed and surged as the engineer implemented the deception. To the Arcturian sensors, the Defiant would appear to be on the verge of a catastrophic reactor breach. They're moving into capture formation, Zhang warned. Preparing to deploy boarding parties. Maya smiled. Perfect. Bring us to within optimal range of the command node. The Defiant drifted, seemingly at the mercy of failing systems, until it had positioned itself within striking distance of their true target, still protected behind multiple layers of the alien fleet. 17 seconds until they deploy boarding craft, Reed counted down. Maya took a deep breath. All hands, secure for extreme maneuvers. Dr. Patil, activate the Chaos Drive. Nina's fingers danced across her console. Chaos Drive active. Quantum probability field expanding. For a moment, nothing happened. Then reality flickered. The stars seemed to shift position ever so slightly. The light in the bridge took on a peculiar quality, as though being filtered through an impossible prism. Every officer felt a momentary disorientation as their inner ear struggled to reconcile contradictory information. On the tactical display, the perfect formations of the Arcturian fleet began to waver. Ships that should have maintained precise distances suddenly found themselves meters from collision. Communications that followed strict protocols became garbled. "It's working," John reported, wonder in his voice. "Their formations are breaking down." "Now," Maya ordered, "full power to engines. Attack vector Alpha. All weapons free." The Defiant surged forward, its damaged systems suddenly operating at peak performance. The ship corkscrewed through the disorganized alien formation, its point defense systems firing with uncanny accuracy. "The Arcturians are attempting to reorganize," Reed reported, "but their hive mind is struggling with the unpredictable variables." "Show me the command node," Maya ordered. The view screen shifted to show their target, a massive hexagonal vessel surrounded by smaller escort craft. Under normal circumstances, approaching it would have been suicide, but now the escorts moved erratically, some even colliding with each other as the Chaos Drive played havoc with their coordination. "Phase cannon at 98% charge," John reported. "We'll only get one shot," Maya said. "Helm, bring us into optimal firing position." The Defiant rolled and pitched, evading enemy fire more through unpredictability than skill. The Chaos Drive had turned space combat into a game where the rules changed moment by moment. "Captain," Nina called out, "the Chaos Drive is overloading. We have 2 minutes before containment failure." Maya nodded grimly. "Hold it together, Doctor." "Zhang, status on target." "Command node shields are fluctuating. I'm detecting gaps in their coverage." "There." Port ventral quadrant showing a 7-second vulnerability cycle. "Helm, set approach vector. All power to forward shields. We're going to punch through their defensive screen." The Defiant accelerated, plunging toward the heart of the Arcturian fleet. Enemy weapons fire intensified, some shots finding their mark despite the probability distortions. The ship shuddered under the impact. "Shields at 42%, Volkov reported. Hull breaches on decks 7 through 9. "Stay the course," Maya ordered, gripping her command chair as the ship bucked violently. "Timing is everything." The command node loomed larger on the view screen, its escort ships still trying to form a coherent defense. The Defiant rolled to port, presenting its most heavily armored flank to the heaviest concentration of enemy fire. 30 seconds to optimal firing position, the helm officer reported. "The Chaos Drive is redlining," Nina warned. "Field stability dropping below 30%. Maya felt the ship groan around her, systems straining beyond design limits. "We only need a few more seconds. Zhang, prepare to fire on my mark." Phase cannon fully charged and locked on target, the tactical officer confirmed. 20 seconds to firing position. The Defiant shuddered as another volley of enemy fire struck home. "Shields failing," Volkov reported. "Direct hit to engineering section." "Chaos Drive stability at 18%, Nina called out. "Field collapse imminent." 10 seconds. Maya leaned forward in her chair. "Steady." 5 seconds. "Phase cannon targeting the shield vulnerability," Zhang confirmed. 3, 2, 1. Fire. The Defiant's phase cannon discharged. A stream of particles accelerated to near light speed, their quantum states deliberately entangled with each other. The beam struck the command node precisely at its point of vulnerability, passing through the momentary gap in its shields. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the command node's surface rippled as though the metal itself had become liquid. Geometric patterns of light raced across its hull, pulsing with increasing frequency. "Direct hit," John reported. "Enemy vessel experiencing some kind of cascade effect." On the view screen, the command node began to break apart, not through conventional explosion, but through a kind of structural dissolution, as though the very atoms were losing their bonds with each other. "Chaos Drive reaching critical failure," Nina shouted over the blaring alarms. Field collapse in 3 seconds. All hands brace for impact. Maya ordered. Helm, emergency FTL jump. Get us out of here. The stars stretched as the Defiance FTL drive engaged, tearing a hole in space-time just as the Chaos drive collapsed. The ship shuddered violently, systems overloading across all decks. For a terrifying moment, it seemed they might not escape the expanding wave of quantum distortion. Then they were in the safety of hyperspace, the Ta City system left behind. Maya released her white-knuckled grip on her command chair. Damage report. Hull breaches on multiple decks. Volkov reported. Emergency bulkheads holding. Casualties. Significant. The Chaos drive is completely destroyed, Nina added. Containment chamber is a total loss. And the Arcturians? Maya asked. Reed studied his intelligence feeds. Last telemetry showed complete disruption of the command node. Without it, their hive consciousness in this sector will be severely compromised. It could take them months to re-establish central coordination. Months during which they won't be completing that wormhole gate, Maya concluded. Months for the Trappist colony to prepare. For other human survivors to regroup. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. They hadn't won the war, not even close, but they had bought humanity precious time, and they had proven that the seemingly invincible Arcturian collective had a fatal weakness. They couldn't comprehend or counter human unpredictability. Set course for Trappist, Maya ordered. Maximum sustainable speed, and get me a secure channel to Governor Santos. We need to tell them what we've learned. As the Defiant limped through hyperspace, bearing its wounded crew and its vital intelligence, Maya returned to the observation deck. The streaking stars of FTL travel painted patterns across her face as she considered the road ahead. The war was far from over, but for the first time since the fall of Earth, humanity had hope, and a strategy that might just work. The Arcturian collective's perfect logic was its greatest strength and its fatal weakness, and humanity's chaotic, intuitive nature, once considered primitive by the aliens, had proven to be its salvation. One ship against a fleet, one species against an interstellar empire. The odds were still overwhelming. But as Maya had learned throughout her career, humans had a unique talent for beating impossible odds. Impossible victory. The UES Defiant emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Trappist system, its hull scared and blackened from battle. Warning lights flickered across the bridge consoles as overtaxed systems struggled to maintain functionality. Approaching Trappist 1E, Lieutenant Park reported from the helm station. Colony Defense Grid has detected us and is requesting authentication. Transmit command codes. Captain Maya Chen ordered, her voice hoarse from hours of shouting orders through smoke-filled corridors, and open a channel to Governor Santos. The view screen flickered, then resolved to show an austere woman with close-cropped silver hair. Dark circles under her eyes spoke of sleepless nights, but her gaze remained sharp and penetrating. Captain Chen, she said, our sensors detected your arrival. We feared the worst when we lost contact with Earth Command. Governor, Maya acknowledged with a slight nod. We've struck a significant blow against the Arcturian collective. Their command node in the Ta City system has been destroyed, and our fleet coordination is in disarray. We need to talk, privately. The governor's eyes widened slightly, but she quickly composed herself. Dock at Platform Alpha. My security team will escort you to the command bunker. 3 hours later, Maya stood in the underground command center of humanity's last major colony. The chamber buzzed with activity as technicians monitored defense systems and communications. Governor Santos had assembled her senior staff, military officers, scientists, and civilian administrators who represented what remained of human leadership. The Chaos Drive exceeded our expectations, Maya explained, activating a holographic display of their battle. It created a quantum probability field that disrupted the Arcturians' hive mind coordination. They couldn't function in an environment where outcomes didn't follow mathematical certainty. But the drive was destroyed. Santos observed. Yes, Maya admitted. The technology wasn't designed for sustained operation, but Dr. Patel believes we can construct a more stable version using resources here on TRAPPIST. Nina Patel stepped forward, her normally immaculate lab coat now stained and torn. The principle is sound. The Arcturians operate through perfect consensus, each drone an extension of their collective consciousness. By introducing genuine randomness, we create scenarios they literally cannot process. Commander Volkov activated another section of the holographic display. While the Defiant was engaging their fleet, we gathered extensive data on their communication patterns. There appears to be a hierarchical structure to their network, and the command node we destroyed was only a secondary hub. You mean there's a primary hub? Santos asked. We believe their central consciousness, what we're calling the Nexus, is located in the Epsilon Eridani system, Maya confirmed. It coordinates the entire Arcturian presence in this sector of the galaxy. A murmur ran through the assembled leaders. You're suggesting we attack the Nexus directly? Admiral Katri, the colony's defense chief, asked incredulously. With what fleet? The Defiant is barely operational, and our defense ships are outdated interceptors at best. Not with a fleet, Maya said, her voice steady. With one ship, the Defiant. Impossible, the Admiral scoffed. Even with your Chaos Drive technology, the concentration of Arcturian forces around their Nexus would be overwhelming. Not if they don't see us coming, Maya countered. Chief Engineer Okonkwo has developed a method to mask our quantum signature. Zara stepped forward, calling up schematics on the display. The Arcturians detect ships by the gravitational distortions they create in spacetime. By incorporating elements of the Chaos Drive into our propulsion system, we can create a field that disguises these distortions, essentially becoming invisible to their sensors. Stealth technology, Santos asked, leaning forward with interest. More like camouflage, Zara corrected. We won't be invisible, but we'll appear as something else. Space debris, a small asteroid, or background radiation. As long as we maintain minimal power output and move slowly, they shouldn't detect us as a threat. Maya manipulated the hologram to show their proposed mission plan. We infiltrate the Epsilon Eridani system under stealth, approach the Nexus, and deploy a modified version of the Chaos Drive directly into their primary command structure. And if you're detected, Admiral Caffrey challenged. Then we fight, Maya said simply, and hopefully create enough disruption with our conventional weapons to complete the mission. The room fell silent as the enormity of the plan sank in. The odds of success are minimal, Santos said finally. The odds of humanity's survival without action are worse, Maya countered. The Arcturians won't stop with Earth. Their entire existence is built around assimilating other species into their collective. TRAPPIST is just another target on their list. Governor Santos studied the holographic display for a long moment. How long would it take to prepare the Defiant for this mission? 3 weeks, Zora estimated, if we can access the colony's manufacturing facilities and scientific personnel. Santos nodded. You'll have everything you need. Admiral Katri, assign your best engineers to assist Chief Okonkwo. Dr. Patel will have full access to our research division. As the meeting disbanded, Santos held Maya back with a light touch on her arm. When they were alone, the governor's official demeanor fell away, revealing the exhaustion beneath. Is this really our best option, Maya? It's our only option, Maya replied. We can't match their numbers or conventional firepower, but we can use their greatest strength against them. Their perfect logic can't comprehend human intuition or our willingness to sacrifice everything for a chance at victory. For 20 days, the Defiant underwent an extensive transformation. The colony shipyards worked around the clock, reinforcing the battle-damaged hull and integrating new systems. Dr. Patel and her team refined the Chaos Drive technology, creating a more stable version that could be deployed as both a defensive measure and an offensive weapon. Maya spent the time drilling her crew in new tactics. With nearly a third of her personnel lost in the Ta City battle, she integrated colonial defense forces into the roster, training them in the unorthodox warfare that would be necessary against the Arcturians. The key is unpredictability, she explained to her bridge officers during a simulation. Conventional military doctrine emphasizes efficiency and optimal resource allocation. We need to do the opposite, make choices that appear illogical, even to ourselves. The moment you find yourself following standard procedure, change your approach. On the 21st day, the Defiant hung in orbit above TRAPPIST-1E, its modifications complete. The once sleek warship now looked misshapen, with irregular protrusions housing the stealth field generators and modified weapon systems. The ship's power signature had been reconfigured to mimic natural phenomena rather than technological systems. Final diagnostic complete, Zara reported from engineering. Stealth systems are online and functioning within parameters. The new Chaos drive is stable, though I still recommend limiting continuous operation to 90 minutes. Maya nodded, making a final inspection of the bridge. New faces mixed with familiar ones at the stations, colonial officers working alongside her veteran crew. Despite their different backgrounds, they shared a common purpose and the desperate determination of those fighting for survival. Communication from the surface, Lieutenant Park announced. Governor Santos is hailing us. The governor's face appeared on the view screen, composed but solemn. Captain Chin. TRAPPIST Command confirms your mission authorization. We've loaded the colony's historical and cultural archives to your data core. If you don't return, we'll return, Maya assured her. One way or another, the Arcturian threat ends now. The Defiant slipped away from TRAPPIST under minimal power, its FTL drive modified to create smaller, shorter jumps that would be harder for the Arcturians to detect. The journey to Epsilon Eridani would take 11 days, a painfully slow approach designed to avoid detection. As they neared Arcturian space, the ship operated under strict emissions control. Only essential systems remained powered, and the crew moved through dimly lit corridors speaking in hushed voices. It wasn't logical. Sound couldn't travel through space, but the psychological effect was appropriate. They were hunters now, stalking a much larger predator. On the 10th day, they detected the first Arcturian patrol ships, geometric vessels moving in perfect formation at the edge of the Epsilon Eridani system. Stealth systems holding, John reported from Tactical. They show no indication they can detect us. Maintain course, Maya ordered. Bring us in behind that comet. We'll use its mass to further mask our approach. The Defiant drifted into the system, moving from celestial body to celestial body, using their gravity wells and radiation signatures as cover. As they penetrated deeper, the concentration of alien vessels increased exponentially. They've fortified the entire system, Commander Volkov observed grimly. I'm counting over 300 ships in defensive formations. Maya studied the tactical display. And there it is. At the heart of the system, orbiting the third planet, hung a massive structure unlike any Arcturian vessel they had encountered before. Where the alien ships were geometric and regular, the nexus was organic in appearance, a vast neural network made physical, its surface pulsing with patterns of light that seemed to flow like synapses firing in a brain. Life signs? Maya asked. Off the charts, Reed replied from his station. But not individual signatures. It's reading as one massive interconnected organism. This isn't just a command center, Captain. It's the physical manifestation of their hive mind. Can we get closer without detection? Maya asked. I believe so, Zara replied. If we power down to absolute minimum and drift with the orbital debris around that moon, it will take approximately 7 hours to reach optimal position. Maya nodded. Do it. All hands, prepare for silent running. The Defiant powered down until only life support and the stealth systems remained active. The ship grew cold as thermal regulation was minimized, and the crew donned insulated gear. In near darkness, they drifted toward their target, surrounded by the very heart of the enemy's power. In her quarters, Maya recorded what might be her final log entry by the dim light of an emergency chemical glow stick. If we succeed, this message will serve as a record of how humanity overcame an enemy that surpassed us in every conventional measure. If we fail, perhaps some future species will find this and learn from our attempt. The Arcturians believe their collective consciousness gives them perfect understanding of the universe. They cannot comprehend that individuality, the chaos of human free will and creativity, might be an evolutionary advantage. Today we put that theory to the test. 7 hours later, the Defiant had achieved its position, hidden within a field of orbital debris, less than 20,000 kilometers from the Nexus. The massive alien structure filled their view screen, its pulsing patterns hypnotic. Chaos drive is primed, Nina reported. Modified delivery vehicle is ready in Launch Bay 1. Defensive systems, Maya asked. The Nexus is surrounded by an energy field unlike anything we've encountered, John replied. It appears to be a direct extension of their neural network rather than a conventional shield. Our sensors can't determine if our weapons can penetrate it. Then we stick to the plan, Maya decided. Zhang, target their field generators with conventional weapons. The moment they redirect power to compensate, we launch the Chaos Drive payload. And if that fails? Volkov asked quietly. Maya met his gaze steadily. Then we take the Defiant directly into the heart of the Nexus at maximum speed. One way or another, we're introducing chaos to their system today. She straightened in her command chair. Battle stations. Power up all systems. Throughout the ship, emergency lighting gave way to normal illumination. Engines hummed to life, and weapon systems charge. The moment of stealth was over. Now came the fight. They detected us, Reed warned. Arcturian vessels are breaking formation and moving to intercept. Wait until the last possible moment, Maya ordered. Let them think we're still trying to hide. The alien ships approached with mathematical precision, their movements coordinated by the vast intelligence of the Nexus. On the tactical display, they formed concentric rings of defense, closing in on the Defiant's position. 5 seconds to optimal firing position, Zhang reported. All hands, Maya called out shipwide. Remember your training. Think unpredictably. Trust your instincts, not just your instruments. 3, 2, 1. Now, all weapons, fire at will. The Defiant erupted with energy as every weapon system discharged simultaneously. Phased particle beams, graviton torpedoes, and conventional missiles streaked toward the Nexus and its defenders. At the same instant, the ship's engines fired at maximum thrust, sending it corkscrewing through space in a maneuver that defied tactical logic. The sudden assault caught the Arcturians momentarily off guard. Several defensive vessels were struck before they could adjust their shields. The Nexus's energy field fluctuated as it processed this unexpected development. Field generators are destabilizing, John reported. 15-second window identified. Launch the Chaos Drive payload, Maya ordered. From the Defiant's launch bay, a small projectile accelerated toward the Nexus. It appeared insignificant against the massive alien structure, but contained within it was the refined essence of human unpredictability, a device designed to introduce genuine randomness into the most ordered consciousness in the galaxy. Payload is away, Zora confirmed. Impact in 12 seconds. Evasive maneuvers, Maya commanded. All power to engines. Get us clear of the blast radius. The Defiant pivoted and accelerated away from the Nexus, weaving through the approaching Arcturian vessels. Enemy weapons fire intensified. Several hits landing on the ship's reinforced hull. Hull breach on Deck 4, Volkov reported. Emergency bulkheads holding. Payload impact in 3, 2, 1. The projectile struck the Nexus's energy field just as it was remodulating. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the field itself seemed to fold inward, creating a tunnel through which the payload passed. What followed wasn't an explosion in the conventional sense. Instead, the surface of the Nexus began to ripple, patterns of light accelerating and becoming erratic. The geometric perfection of the structure started to warp and distort. Chaos cascade initiating, Nina reported, wonder in her voice. A quantum field is expanding throughout their neural network. It's working. On the tactical display, the perfectly coordinated movements of the Arcturian fleet began to falter. Ships that had been moving in precise formation suddenly veered in random directions. Some collided with each other, while others fired weapons at empty space. The hive mind is experiencing cognitive dissonance on a massive scale, Reed explained, studying his instruments. They can't process the contradictory information the chaos drive is feeding into their network. The disruption spread outward from the Nexus like a shockwave, affecting every connected vessel. Some alien ships simply powered down, their systems unable to function without the guiding intelligence of the collective. Others entered automated defensive routines, firing indiscriminately at anything that moved, including other Arcturian vessels. "Get us out of here," Maya ordered. "Maximum FTL, heading 227 Mark 35. The Defiance engines strained as it accelerated away from the disintegrating Arcturian fleet. Behind them, the Nexus itself began to break apart, not through conventional destruction, but through a kind of structural dissolution, as the very organizational principles that held it together were subverted. The ship shuddered as it prepared to jump to FTL. Warning lights flashed across every console as damaged systems threatened to fail. "FTL drives at critical mass," Zara warned. "We might not make it all the way back to Trappist. Just get us clear of this system," Maya replied. "We'll worry about the rest later." The stars stretched as the Defiant jumped to FTL, leaving behind the collapsing heart of the Arcturian collective. For long minutes, the bridge crew held their breath, waiting to see if their damaged ship would hold together through the stresses of faster-than-light travel. When they finally dropped back to normal space, the Epsilon Eridani system was far behind them. Emergency systems blared warnings as the ship drifted, its main power fluctuating. "Damage report," Maya called out. "FTL drive is completely burnt out," Zara reported. "Life support operating at 62% capacity. Communications are offline. But the structural integrity field is holding. We're not in immediate danger." "And the Arcturians?" Maya asked, turning to Reed. The intelligence officer studied his displays, a slow smile spreading across his face. "Total disruption of their command structure. The quantum cascade appears to have spread through their entire neural network. Every Arcturian vessel within at least 3 light-years has been affected." "Can they recover?" Volkov asked. "Eventually, perhaps," Reed admitted. "But it would require rebuilding their collective consciousness from scratch. We've essentially given their entire civilization a massive stroke." Maya leaned back in her command chair, feeling the weight of exhaustion, but also a spark of hope that had been absent for so long. "Begin repairs," she ordered. "Focus on communications first. We need to get word back to Trappist." 3 weeks later, the Defiant limped into the Trappist system using conventional drives, broadcasting its identity on all frequencies. A fleet of colonial vessels rushed out to meet it, surrounding the battle-scarred warship with an honor guard escort. In the colony's central plaza,